In this video, I'll show you how I installed the Onan 5500 watt gas generator instead of the normal propane generator you see in most fifth wheel RVs, because I've been getting a lot of questions when people that first saw it in our mods video. So you might be wondering why I installed a gas generator when there's already propane tanks in front of the RV. Well, for us, we go boondocking and run the fridge off of propane. So if a generator runs off of propane, that means we're going to burn up our fuel source and not be able to boondock quite as long. We also do hurricane relief work where propane is not usually available, but gas is available because we supply fuel for our missions during hurricane relief work. So with the gas generator, I can keep filling this up. I don't have to worry about finding propane stations, and for boondocking, we'll keep it off-grid for a much longer period of time. I plan to do a complete install video for this when we got a new RV, but things that are in the COVID world are especially on back order, and that's not going to happen for a long period of time. This is going to be a quick overview of how I installed the generator inside of our RV to help you out when you're looking to do the same thing for yourself. It's not a complete step-by-step instructions, and I'm not a certified master generator installer of any sorts. I like to fabricate things, have a lot of experience doing these things, so if you need any references, you might want to check the manuals or ask a certified installer. The things you need for the install, the first main important one is a generator. I had this gas generator in a previous toy hauler. I took it out of that with only a few hours on it before I sold that. Next thing to run the generator is going to be the gas tank. It's a 22-gallon marine gas tank that we can store up here right next to the generator in the front. To start the generator, we need the control remote switch on the inside of the RV, so I don't have to open up the front of this every time I want to start it. And next I put a small lawnmower battery next to the generator, and that is separate than my house batteries because that has a lithium and inverter setup inside of the basement. Also in the basement is a transfer switch for this generator, so when the generator starts, it powers up the RV. And don't forget about the exhaust. You can buy kits when you buy your generator, or you might have to customize them like I did. I had a kit from the previous toy hauler, and I had to add on some tailpipe so my exhaust goes out the side so it clears the side of the RV. Now let's get into the install process. Normally, when you have a front bay that's made for a generator, there's going to be some spots in the bottom you'll see outlined where you can cut it out for your air intake, your exhaust, and your bolt holes. Now with my setup, with putting the gas tank next to it, I had to shift the generator over a little bit. So I followed that template, but I just measured over and fabricated some bracing underneath and put the holes where it fit for my whole operation. After I mounted the generator in place and the fuel tank in place, I built this shelf around the outside for an enclosure. I put some sound deadening on the outside where the generator is, the front door, all the way around it. It was really pretty quiet on the inside after that. And I get a nice handy shelf putting things on the top side. For running the wiring, I put an 1.5 inch conduit through my pass-through storage. So I ran the wire for the generator in there and any sensor wires for my gas tank fuel gauge or the charger wire for the battery. All that stuff goes through a piece of conduit, not underneath in the frame, so I know it's protected and I can access it much easier that way. Inside the basement, the transfer switch is pretty straightforward. You cut your line coming in after your church protector, you put the transfer switch in, and your generator goes to one side, and your regular shore power goes to the other side. Running the remote to the inside of the RV, I put the gas tank gauge right next to that so I can see how much gas is in my tank, and start a generator without having to come to the outside of the RV. And I have an hour meter on that, keep track of my hours so I know when to change my oil. And the last thing in the system is routing the exhaust. Just make sure your exhaust goes out the side of the RV and the exhaust clears the side of the RV so it gets a little bit of airflow so you're not going to get carbon monoxide and building up underneath the RV and coming on the inside. After it's installed, the operation is pretty simple. There's a remote switch on the inside. I can start the generator from there, or you can always come to the outside. You can start it from here, especially if you're working on a generator for any reason. To fill up the fuel in the gas tank, I have a propane door in the side of the RV where an extra tank is held. So this is all marine type of fuel tanks and filler nozzles. I could have put the nozzle out the side of the RV, but being as I had the door there to use that, I kept the filling nozzle on the inside, and all the fumes are still where the generator is in the front, so I wasn't worried about anything coming inside the RV with that filler neck. Hope this video helped. If you're looking to do an install inside your RV, if you have any questions on the install, drop a comment down below. I always answer everyone's questions. If you got some value out of this video, please give it a like so other people can find it as well. If you want to see more how-to videos like this, please consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next video.